Family plays the most important role in the upbringing of a child, and for a child, the most important thing in his world is the love of his parents. And who doesn't love their kid? They are the most important part of their parents' life. And it is the parents' duty to keep their kids away from the devils roaming around the world. But what if a father makes his own daughter's life a living hell? What if a father leaves trauma so bad that it stays a lifetime? What if a father becomes the devil for his own daughter? Greetings, and welcome to a brand new series on this channel called CaseFiles, where we discuss true crime stories. Today I'll tell you about Josef Fritzl, a father who was the devil in his daughter's life. Josef Fritzl, born in 1935, Austria, grew up in a very bad family environment. His mother, Maria, was mentally unstable, and her first husband cheated on her with 3 of the houseworkers who all got pregnant with his children. Later, Josef's mother had to take care of all the 3 children too. After this, Maria married another man, and later, Josef was born. And because she was mentally unstable, she always feared that Josef would leave her like everyone else did. So she never let Josef go away from her, but he wasn't a nice mom. She would hit Josef until he could not breathe properly. After Josef grew a little, World War began. By the time Josef was 8, he had to live in an orphanage because his mother was taken to some concentration camp by the soldiers at that time. But this didn't make his life easier. He used to constantly get bullied in the orphanage. No one adopted him, and he was allegedly assaulted by one of the staff members in the orphanage. Meanwhile, Maria survived the concentration camp. The war ended, and she brought Josef back home. But this time, it was a lot worse for Josef, because his mother had learned more torture methods from the concentration camp, and she began to use all of them on Josef. But he could not leave her because he had no one else except Maria. Time passed, and Josef was now in his teens, and he began fighting back. He was a good student, getting good grades, and had an overall good image in front of his teachers. One day, he met Rosemarie, and they decided to marry each other. After they got married, they made babies, a lot of babies. 7 in total, 3 sons and 4 daughters. Josef had a few businesses, and they were earning well. Josef's wife was an angel. She was kind, sweet, and she did not yell at anyone. Meanwhile, Josef was completely opposite. He was possessive and corrupt. And Rosemarie was submissive. She used to obey Josef. But the outer world image of the Fritzl family was something else. They were seen as a happy, loving family by their neighbors. Later, Josef bought a hotel near his office for his family to move in. And before moving in, he made some renovations and modifications to the hotel to give it a personal touch and a home vibe. And most importantly, he made a working space in the basement with a permit, and no one was allowed to enter this underground office. And Josef used to scold and hit anyone who used to enter this underground space, even his wife. Now, one of his daughters, Elisabeth Fritzl, born in 1966, was the star kid of their family, excellent in school and sports, had a very nice behavior towards everyone, used to help her mother, and she was liked a lot by her siblings too. And she was a really beautiful girl. After completing her schooling, she became a waitress because she wanted to earn and move out of the house. She was everyone's favorite, including Josef. Josef used to love and adore her. A little too much. You can say he was obsessed over Elizabeth. He used to sneak in Elizabeth's room multiple times and sleep next to his daughter. He used to get her expensive gifts. He used to take Elizabeth to her favorite places. But he was totally disconnected with his other kids. Many times when Elizabeth's friends used to come over to play, Josef used to not make them meet Elizabeth. And Elizabeth was tired of her father interfering in her life too much. So one day, she ran away from the house, but a few days later she was found in her friend's house. Everyone was scared, especially Josef. And after Elizabeth was found, Josef promised her that she will never have to do this again. After this incident, Elizabeth resumed her job as a waitress and soon got another waitress job in a nearby city. so she moved out and started working at the new place, which was paying her a better salary. After some time, Elizabeth turned 18 and Joseph called her back to the home and asked her for a little help in the basement office. He was moving some heavy stuff around and he needed Elizabeth's help in it. Elizabeth agreed and offered help. This was the first time of her seeing this underground office. But little did she know, Joseph was not planning to use this basement as an office. He spent 18 years building a secret chamber in this underground space as an unescapable prison. When Elizabeth came to the basement, Joseph put an ether-laced towel on her mouth, due to which she lost consciousness. When Elizabeth woke up, she found herself in that chamber on a bed with her hands tied up with rope. This chamber had everything: a kitchen, a bedroom, and a bathroom too. After 2 days, Josef came with food and Elizabeth tried to run, but she failed. After this, Joseph had put her hands in a handcuff. Later, Joseph made Elizabeth sign an agreement that she would not try to run away, and he also made her write a note which said that she was tired of living like this, so she ran away again, and no one should try to contact her. Joseph used to feed her after every 2 days. And meanwhile, Elizabeth's mother, Rosemary, got very concerned and filed a missing person report in the police department, and Joseph was opposing her decision. The police started the search, but they got no clues whatsoever. After a few days, Joseph gave police a letter from Elizabeth, which said that she had joined a cult, and since it was a bit common at that time, police believed in the letter and dropped the search. Soon, this case was closed. Elizabeth initially thought it was just a nightmare, which would last for a few weeks. But sadly, this nightmare lasted for 24 years. Yes, 24 years. For 24 years, every day, Elizabeth was getting raped by her own father in her own house. And the basement was soundproofed to such a level that even a person standing in front of the door could not hear anyone scream inside. And since she was getting raped by Joseph, she began to have kids. In the total time of 24 years, Elizabeth had 7 kids. Her firstborn died very early, and Joseph took 3 kids out of the chamber and kept them in his house and told everyone that he had adopted them with a good will, because he also lived in an orphanage. He also forged the adoption documents and birth certificates to look real. After a while, Joseph thought of expanding this chamber so that he can conserve more food here. And guess what he did? He ordered Elizabeth and her kids to dig the chamber by hand and expand it. Soon he added television and radio to the chamber for the children's entertainment. Whenever Joseph used to come down to assault her, Elizabeth would demand certain things, like books, and stationary kits for the children, so that they could study or even supplement pills for vitamins, because the kids had never seen the sun. Or whenever a kid used to fall ill, Joseph would first assault Elizabeth, and in return, he would bring medications for the child. Joseph had gotten comfortable with it because he had been doing all this for many years now. Whatever little fear he had in his mind had vanished in these 24 years. So much comfortable that he even went on long trips alone, where he would have affairs with other women also. But one day in 2008, Elizabeth's oldest daughter Kirsten fell ill. So much ill that she fainted, and her heartbeat also dropped. So Elizabeth pleaded her father to take Kirsten to the hospital, otherwise she would lose their daughter. And surprisingly, Joseph agreed. He called an ambulance and took Kirsten to a hospital where he found out that Kirsten had a life-threatening kidney failure. When asked by the doctors, he told them that he had found this kid on the streets on the verge of death with a note saying that please save my daughter and I can't afford the treatment. The whole hospital staff believed the story except one doctor. He did a background research on Kirsten and did not seem to find any information on the child. It was as if this kid never existed. And since the kid had a pale skin, the doctor was convinced that Joseph was lying, and he called the cops. Since they could not directly charge Joseph of kidnapping because he was a respected man for the outer world, the police initially put posters around the city to find the parent of the child. but no one came forward. And then the police began doubting Josef. Earlier they thought that he had kidnapped the child, but later they made a connection between Elizabeth's disappearing and Kirsten's appearance. And finally, the missing report of Elizabeth Fritzl was reopened in 2008. After 24 years, police took note of the letter which Elizabeth had written. They said it felt a little too fake, like if someone else had forced her to write this letter. Elizabeth got the news that Kirsten's health was declining. She pleaded Josef to make her and the kids meet Kirsten one last time, and after some time, Josef finally agreed. After 24 years, she came out of that prison, and this was the first time for Elizabeth's children. They went to the hospital, and Elizabeth finally met Kirsten. In the meanwhile, the doctor had called the cops that some people are here to visit Kirsten, and all of them were arrested on the spot, including Elizabeth. Police interrogated Elizabeth, but she was silent. The doctors were fighting the cops because these kids were too pale to exist, and they wanted to treat the kids. After some time, Elizabeth broke the silence with the condition. In return for the information that the cops wanted, Elizabeth and her kids wanted to never see Josef ever again in her entire life. The cops and Elizabeth came to an agreement, and she told them everything. Everything, like how Josef used to her, how he began to her from a very young age, how he made her seek to learn new moves when he was not satisfied, how he made her write those letters, how her children saw her getting every single time. So finally, 73-year-old Josef was arrested, and Elizabeth, with her children and Rosemary too, were put under a proper mental health care center. After a few days, DNA reports came out proving that all these kids were in fact of Josef and Elizabeth. A court case was filed on this, but Josef had nothing to defend. Everything was proved and in front of everyone's eyes. But Josef's lawyers played a nasty trick. They said that Josef did all this because Elizabeth was mentally unstable and he wanted to save her. They said Josef was finally ready to release her, but he got wrongfully accused before he could release them. Josef even had a story ready in which he was the hero, of course. According to the story, after 24 years, Josef found Elizabeth in the cult and rescued her, where they forcefully made 7 kids with Elizabeth. He saw all that and rescued her. This was the script which Josef had made as an escape and looked good in public eye. But of course, Josef Fritzl was sentenced to life imprisonment in March 2009 for crimes including murder by negligence, rape, incest, and false imprisonment. He was ordered to serve his sentence in a secure psychiatric facility due to personality and sexual disorders. He is still alive in the prison as of 2026. What I personally think about this case, I think because Josef was badly beaten by his mother and not treated with care, he lost a part of himself in a very young age, which led to him being a heartless monster. But this still does not justify what he did to Elizabeth. But that's just my opinion. Feel free to share yours in the comment section. That's it for today's video. Please take care of yourself and your family. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Until next time. Hold up. My statistics show that more than 70% of viewers are not subscribed. Please help me change that and reach 1 million subscribers. Much love to everyone who has subscribed. I'll see you in some other video.